What's up, good people? Welcome to the Bro Code Show. It's your boy, Mr. Y4C, aka Bro Troy, and tonight it's all about the bros. Now, we call it the Rehash, but tonight we're going to recap a few past conversations, add our own perspective on sports and social injustice, and also share a couple transparent moments concerning mental wellness, how we personally stay both hopeful and helpful during a time where it's easy to get distracted. So get your seatbelts ready for this one because it's about to go down. Now, for those that have never had a Bro Code experience, the Bro Code Show is a live talk show created to discuss, uncover, justify, and dismantle the issues that concern us most as brothers, as family, and as a community. And you know how we like to give it to them, fellas. We like to give it to them raw, uncut, and real respectful. Now, most would define the bro code as a friendship etiquette or maybe a standard that men follow. But around here, a bro is a loyal, confident, and stand-up guy that comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and creeds. Now, our greatest desire is to embrace everyone in positive, popular conversation. But, you know, we're not in the business of bashing or belittling or shaming anyone. But we do believe in being comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations because that's where understanding starts. So as grandma would say, hey, let's chew the meat and spit out the bone. So real quick, some housekeeping things. If you're on Facebook right now, please use those thumbs, those fingers, whatever it is, like and share this post. Not now, but when, fellas? Right now. Like and share that post. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate you. If not, please go to YouTube. It's on the bottom of the screen and go to YM4C TV. At YM4C TV, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the notification so that way when we go live, you'll know it. So what's good, fellas? Tell me something good, man. Let's start with you, Bro Smith. What you got going on, brother? How was your week?
Oh, man, the week was real lackadaisical, man. I did it, not really much of anything. You know, I had a little Halloween event in the neighborhood where I got to dress up, go trick-or-treating. You know, I felt like a young kid again. And
I saw you and your Superman. He even had young Murray with the S on his chest. I was like, okay.
it took me back, man. It took me back. And, you know, and today's been, you know, with the rain and the loss of the gaining of an hour. It's been a lazy day so far.
Yeah, you pulled out the big word on me. He went lackadaisical. Like you was big, like lazy 2.0 on him. Okay. I can dig that, man. I certainly can dig that. Bro, Kurt, what's good, brother? Tell me something good, man. How's your week?
Wait, so we're not gonna brush over the Superman outfit that he had.
And he put it on for me.
Yeah, I love it. Like, nah, man, like yo, man. And then he didn't. I love it.
He had the red shoes on and everything. You couldn't tell him better, boy. He was like Superman.
No, that's cool, man. That's why you can relate to the kid so well because he still fit at heart. Man, just like, look, happy, excited. It's November. Life is good, man.
Indeed, man. I don't know about you guys, man, but I'm always a fat boy at heart. I like this season because it's pumpkin everything. You know, I know everybody doesn't dig the pumpkin, but hey, man, I like pumpkin. I was at the store the other day and I saw a double-decker pumpkin, what do you call that? The marshmallow with the graham cracker. What is that called?
You talking about the s'more?
Nah, not a s'more, man. The moon pie.
Moon pie.
It was a pumpkin spice moon pie, double decker too. You know, my inner fat boy was just, I was like, oh yes. Didn't he have a price on it? I just grabbed 4 instantly and hid them from the kids. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. Is a moon pie above the honey bun? Which one is it? Is it a honey bun or a moon pie?
Whew, I don't know, man. You're talking about the original snack right there, man. I don't know if there's anything that you could compare it to a heated up 10 seconds in the microwave honey bun. Like, I don't know, man. Like 10 seconds on a honey bun just kind of changes the game, brother. So I don't know if you can compare to that one, brother. But nonetheless, man, how was your week, bro? Talking about you, Kirk.
Same as you know what, man. Busy, man, but not crazy. Just kind of like chill, man. Just like I like it. Like sometimes you need that recharge.
Indeed. Less is more, man. Less is more. I was told that the other day. I was on a phone call and they were like, "Hey, man, have you been sleeping at night?" Just out of the blue. And I was like, I've been a little restless. It was like, you need to unplug and be intentional about it every night about 6 o'clock. Start shutting down and getting rid of the electronics and allow your mind. Because for me, man, I know you fellas are the same way. Sometimes it doesn't shut off.
That's when I'm just catching up with all your social media posts. Let me see what bro Kirk said today. Whatever picture you gonna post in your suit and tie. That's when I actually plug back in after unplugging from work. Around 6 o'clock. Indeed.
So I know early voting just finished, fellas, man. Do you guys have any experience with that, man? Have you guys already voted or?
Oh yeah, I voted the very first day, man, and it was a bit of a surreal experience because the line was long, but it was long for a reason because we were all 6 feet. I had my ballot that I was like, I could just mail this in, but with all the rhetoric, I was like, what, I can't take any chances. So what was cool about it, as you're walking down and you're passing black folk specifically, they give you this nod. Now, I went to a predominantly white institution, and anytime a black person passes another black person on a campus like that, you give that same nod, like, what's up, brother?
I see you.
It was like a little silent, we're glad you're here. And as people would come down the street, they honk their horns, they put a fist in the air. It felt different. It wasn't your traditional experience. And then you get in there and, everybody's distant still. They're wiping down the machines. It was neat to see. And I'm glad I was able to get it done early because this line's going to be something ridiculous on Tuesdays.
Indeed. How about yourself, Kirk? Did you have an experience of your own? Have you already voted already?
Oh, yeah. And I think second in what he said, but I love that he's talking about that little detail. If I see you, this is really important. Thank you for showing up without any word, without any words. And so, this year feels different. Yeah. For all the reasons why. And social media has pushed that to another level because you can't, unless you're under a rock, how important this vote is, right?
Yeah, I share the same sentiments, man. For me, it was in and out, but there was I've heard before, the devil is in the details, right? And every single detail, from the dots on the floor that I almost slipped on, because I'm a big kid at heart too. And I said, okay, well, she said, follow the dots. Well, I stepped on the dots, and luckily all is still well for Brother Troy. But I did appreciate, man, when I walked in, I went to Barwell over there for Rockaway Road in the Southeast Raleigh side. I got my pen. And, I don't know about you guys, man, but you're absolutely right, Kirk. This one felt a little different, from, the spirit in the room and people being so welcoming to really being mindful of just, here's your pen. It had plastic over it and everything. I was like, okay, we're going to roll this thing right on out.
Did your pen say I voted or? Or
this one says, I voted in the 2020 election. Hashtag your vote counts, NC.
oh man, they gave you the good stuff. I just got a regular old Bic pen, you know.
Oh, nah, man, this one right here is top of the line. Then it had the nerve to have the little pocket thing too, so I could put it in my little pocket if I have a yeah, man. Had the rubber grip too, so I can sign it real nice. Yeah. So I was asking too. You know, I was like, hey, I keep it in the car and went at the office. But it did, man. It felt good to be able to be part. And I remember we was talking earlier, JC. We were like, you know, when it comes to voting, a lot of people would say, hey, my vote doesn't count. But I think that's selfish. My personally, you know, though I may not put a whole lot of faith, if you may, in those that are serving as elected officials, I'm voting for those that don't have a voice. I have a 6-year-old son that all of the policies that go into play 10 years from now will affect his life in a way that he doesn't even think of right now. You know, I have a 100-year-old grandfather that we call the mayor, and, you know, he's forgot more than I know. And I know there's things that continue to make his lifestyle great, even in those latter years. So, you know, don't make it about you, make it about we, right? As we talk about being stronger together. So anyway, man, it's always good to hear the bros doing their due diligence, if you may. But with that being said, man, I'm curious, Shells. I talked earlier about me having a 6-year-old at the crib, man, and you know he wants his 3 hots in the cot. Like he wakes up, where's my breakfast? You know what I mean? Like, you know, at 12 o'clock, he's looking around. Like, is the stove on? Is a hot pocket be something? He wants something. And of course, dinner. But you know, it's the little things that get him excited, man. And oftentimes, whether it's food or playing, he gets real excited. And he says, "Man, this is the best day ever." You know that. I end all of my emails. You know, you have a signature at the end of your email, and what it says is childlike faith, right? And you know, a child doesn't know fear because he hasn't experienced it yet. He has never had the responsibility of knowing what that is like. So that's why they could jump in the pool and don't know how to swim, because they never have had the fear of drowning. But I'm curious, man, for myself, just to have some fun, when we talk about the joy of a child is indeed something we should all strive for. Fellas, what's one of your fondest childhood memories?
Well, for me, I'd probably go back to 8th grade, and you know, I played ball on the you know, on my little junior high team, and for the first part of the season, man, coach wasn't giving me any run, even though outside on the courts, I ran all these kids off. But you know, I was, you know, a strong 5'3" in the court, and you know, I don't think they saw it, and so he started putting me in the game a little bit more and more, and you know, I'd start scoring and being in the right places and making sure I was showing him I'm paying attention to the coaching, and you know, by the end of the year, I'm starting. I wound up making the all-star team for my city, so to speak, or the group of schools. Played with Al Harrington in that game. And I got the most improved trophy, which I keep with me to this day. It's a huge trophy, and that was probably one of my fondest childhood memories. Is, you know, they doubted me at first. I got my recognition at the end of the day, and it's a memory that just lives on. Every time I walk in my closet, I'm staring at my most improved.
He's got the Al Bundy story of his participation trophy.
Now, and I got my own special trophy.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. They gave you a huge participation trophy. That's all right. Life before participation trophies. That's all right. Kurt, man, you got one, man. Y'all can laugh about it too, man.
Hey, Casey, why he coming for you, man? That's funny, man.
No, I mean, he don't want to see me on the court either, man.
Oh, I see you on the court. You go hard, man. You go hard.
He does. Yeah.
Hey, I see Rob in the chat. Rob laughing too, because you know Rob likes to bring it on.
Those little kids when I get on the court.
He gets serious.
To the big homie Rob the Keeper, man, aka Brandon Rowe, aka 50 million jobs, man. What does he not do? What's up, Rowe? Yeah.
He got a new name.
Miss Ann says we vote for those that don't have a voice. You heard that, right, Miss Ann? Power to the people. Appreciate you, Ms. Ann. But Kurt, childhood memory? No, you got one?
Yeah, man. Like man, I grew up in a generation where we played outside. So I remember getting off the school bus and listen. First of all, I had grass stains in my jeans, so I had to go home real quick and clean those off. And my mom seen them because we played football on the playground. But man, it was quick. Like you do your homework real quick, and then we go out and play ball, baseball, football, basketball. Whoever had a ball, that's what went down. So I mean, I still remember all that stuff, man. That sticks with me to this day. And so yeah, for sure.
I gotta laugh at you, JC. Rob said you still 5'3".
I'm a strong 5'6" and 3/8 now. So
with the shoes on, right? Yeah. So indeed, man. Hey man, bros. We love each other, man. So that's what's up. For me, man. Me, I was a fat kid. You already know, man. I was.
Tell them how fat you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, man, don't get me started on my fat boy story. I'll shut it down with the fact I used to be 475. So, hey, as a kid, I played Little League Baseball. And, it was a dude named Cecil Fielder. I think he played for the Detroit Tigers. And he was a home run hitter. And I played catcher, and I think he played first base, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, man, that was my bases were loaded, buddy. I knew that it was 2 outs, and little Cecil was at the plate, and I cleared the trees on this one, brother. I'll never forget this one. They couldn't even find the ball. I got 2 hot dogs that day. I was in hog heaven. So it's not too many times you at least that I know of, that you could talk about hitting a grand slam. So I'll never forget. That's one of my best childhood memories. So Rob getting on me, man. So one of my 600-pound life stories. Oh man, indeed, man, indeed. So hey, man, last month, fellas, we got a chance to sit down with some great guests, man. We chewed the fat on sports and social injustice. It was good to hear from the big homie Poobie Chapman. Sorry, Poobie. Who you talking about, man? Hey, you know what? It's funny though, Jay. Last week we were saying it, and you remember that Kings of Comedy was like, "What I look like calling a grown man delicious?" And he said, "Man, look, I know that's your nickname and all, but I'm usually not calling a grown man Poobie." But nonetheless. Hey, that was the first thing I thought of when you said it. Delicious! But I'm curious, man, what did you guys think of the conversation, Jay? What did you think about Woodrow and Poobie?
No, I thought it was dope, man. Poobie, I was very interested in kind of what the experience is like for athletes abroad, and him touching on that sense of solidarity that he had with other athletes, and the fact that no matter what country or team he played for, they knew what was going on in America. It was a sense that when the anthem was played, especially with him, all eyes were on him as far as kind of representing the Black experience abroad and kind of shouldering the weight of that. What was cool about Woodrow was really just how powerful his faith was in regards to kind of leading him from an early age as far as college is concerned, and how despite the difficulties as far as getting cut for this team, and he kept that with him, and that's really what guided him. It was also cool to hear his story about Emmitt Smith and the value of hard work. The fact that he's 10 years deep and still going to minicamp with the rookies, giving it 100%, knowing good and well that he's already got his position on lock. That was cool to hear.
Yeah, indeed. I'm surprised. You showed a sense of humility with your answer there, speaking of the Cowboys. So I'm quite sure Kirk here would love to definitely piggyback on that. What you got, bro? What you think about Chucky Brown, man, and of course Woodrow and Poobie?
So I think Poobie's government name is Emmanuel. So I'm gonna call him Emmanuel. Throw that out there. But love the conversation. We've been around him a couple of times. I'm not in his circle, but I know who he is, and I've had some conversations with him, man. But I didn't know his depth. until he got on here and spent an hour with us. And so to see his depth is amazing because I'm happy that he's around other young men right now, just like we are. So that's strong. Woody surprised me, man, because I think about NFL quarterbacks, and I'm always thinking about these loud, strong, like this. But he had this quiet communication where he was, he had his thoughts, and then he would, later, like 10 seconds later, maybe say something. So that surprised me. And big homie Chucky, man, when do you get to be around an NBA champion? So much respect to him playing at the highest levels, and then also being able to communicate with him like that. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, here in Texas, the old school, it was nostalgic to where they could ignore the news. They basically just said, "Don't read the newspaper," and they were able to shield them from everything. The hate mail, the taunts, and it's definitely different. It's almost impossible to ignore the negative news these days.
Yeah. Well, fellas, I know we talked about a whole lot, but we certainly can't overlook old boy, man. UNC standout Rashad McCants coming through, dropping them F-bombs, right? And speaking more about his student-athlete experience as a star basketball player. For me, it was really interesting to hear his story and his perspective and really learn why. This dude was living a kid from the hood or any kid's dream. I loved his answer when I was like, why did you go to UNC? Chasing greatness. And I know all of us on this call can understand that. We talk about legacy, we talk about leaving our thumbprint on the earth. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Kurt, what do you think about that social injustice and some of the conversations we had as far as Rashad was concerned?
Absolutely. You know what jumped out to me from him was his willingness. What he said was one thing that he said that he was tired of hearing the cliche conversations or the cliche answer questions. He wanted to really go deep. And that's not usual, man. So that first thing he said gained respect because I knew he was serious and he really cares about the social change. So much respect to him for that. And he meant it. He wasn't being fake or anything like that. And you got to respect that this time. You really do.
Yeah. I can't wait to jump in there and be like, yo, tell him why you mad. Tell him why you mad. He definitely has some passion. And he made some decent points. I think today's athletes feel a sense of purpose more so than ever. And at times it felt like he was a little upset because he maybe he didn't get his due, because he's out there in the streets and he's been pushing the book and everything from within the book and doing more beyond the camera. But the folks like LeBron James and a number of athletes within the NFL, it's cool to know that they're still doing their thing and promoting a message that's getting the owner's attention. It's not seeming to fall on deaf ears. And as far as everything going on at the college level, I'm glad Rashad was out there to shed light on it. As an NC State alum, I loved every minute of the scandal that Chapel Hill got put in as a result of of all the things that he did. And but it needed to have a light shown on.
Yeah, indeed, man. I like that shameless plug too, brother. So if you're just checking in, you're checking in with the Bro Code, man. We're here with what we call the Rehash, just chopping it up with the fellas about some past conversations, currently with social injustice and just chopping up, man, having some fun. For those that have never seen the show before, we like to give it to you raw, uncut, and real respectful. So I mentioned earlier, man, that we were going to have a guest, and I want to take the opportunity to bring him on, man. It's this gentleman right here, man, is a great example of why this conversation and demand for equity must continue. This special guest wants to share his experience, his thoughts, and work surrounding the voice of our young Black men. And a couple of books that kind of compare to Rashad's book, which is Plantation Education. One was $40 Million Slave: The Rise, Fall, and Redemption of the Black Athlete. And that was written by William C. Rodin. And then, of course, the 50th anniversary edition of The Revolt of the Black Athlete, which was written by Dr. Harry Edwards. So, though I know one day soon we don't have Dr. Harry Edwards this time. But, Dr. Edwards, if you're listening, we would love to have you on the show.
Absolutely.
But tonight we do have Reginald Williams. Reginald Williams is a behavioral interventionist, a national speaker, also a consultant, and a trainer on marginalization, emotional identity, and cognitive identification. Most recently, Reggie published a book. It's called A Marginalized Voice, Devalued, Dismissed, and Disenfranchised. Fellas, I want to take the time out to show you this book and also give you an opportunity to bring Reggie aboard. You can order it at amvonlinestore.com. But fellas, give me an opportunity, help me welcome the big homie Reginald Williams to the show. What's going on, Reggie? How you doing, brother?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today, man?
Doing good.
Hey, man, one day at a time, brother. As my grandmother would say, I'd rather be seen than be viewed. So,
Absolutely.
Reggie, we had a chance to connect this past February before the world was put on pause, man. I believe I met you at the Black Lens Symposium during Black History Month at NC State. There you go, John. I gave you another shameless plug. Go Pack. I had the pleasure of speaking on my journey with physical and spiritual wellness. You know, that 600-pound life we talked about earlier? Absolutely. But I'm curious, man, Reggie, how have you been keeping busy since then, bro?
Man, the book is keeping me busy, man. Life is, I have no complaints about life. I've had some family issues like many people have, probably maybe March, April. I got a call that my youngest brother was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is the most aggressive form of brain cancer that exists, given a 12 to 14 month lifespan, but he's doing great, man. Then 3 or 4 weeks later, my older brother died, but then a couple of weeks after that, man, I had my first grandson. So, life has been great, pushing the book. I ended up writing a workbook and a curriculum out of the book, and also another book on publishing. So I have 2 books coming out the first of the year. So I've been busy.
Good stuff, man. Sorry to hear about that. Peace and blessings to the family, man. It's good to see that you're busy about something.
Yeah,
my grandfather said anybody could be busy, but to be busy about something is definitely intuitive, man. Jay, what you got, brother?
Well, I got a question, man. I had a chance to read a few excerpts. I haven't gotten the book yet, but I'm hopeful you can get us a signed copy at some point.
Absolutely, an autographed copy.
No problem.
I did see in your bio you mentioned being a fateful disruptor of systemic structure. Excuse me. Can you expand a little bit more on your background and the work that you do?
Well, as Troy said, I'm a behavioral health interventionist. It's a big word that doesn't say a whole lot of anything, but what I do is I work with what would be known as high-risk populations, young youth as well as adult men who find themselves in and out of the judicial system. For 15 years, I ran a program. It was my program where every Monday night from 6 to 7:30, and the class was a 9-month class, man. We would take brothers who were mandated by the court system to come to my class, and basically trying to help them disrupt some of the behaviors that constantly puts them in the position to be in prison or under somebody's thumb. So, again, not only trying to disrupt those behaviors, but Rashad talked about, his journey, and I'm one who getting out of those cliche answers. Nah, man, you gonna give me something a little different. We just not gonna have those answers. So I often find myself, man, angering people because I will push, and I don't know anything else, and I just won't settle for anything else. So I'll disrupt something.
So Reggie, to piggyback real quick, first of all, congratulations on the grandson.
Thank
usually
you.
People who have the passion that you have had a defining moment that kind of seals this type of work, because we're in the type of work that you're in. So we understand where it comes from. So I want to know what that defining moment is for you. And also, when you talk about young men being blinded with frustration and anger, and how that trauma shows up in these young men's lives.
Great question. You had Chucky on a couple of weeks ago, the time that I saw it, and that was my passion, man, to be an NBA star. And I played pretty good basketball player. But what happened was, growing up in North Carolina, you grow up around some very wise old men. I mean, they're what they call unlearned, because they don't have formal education, but their wisdom is phenomenal. And between my grandfather and some of the men that just kind of impacted my life, they changed my life, and I really didn't realize it until years later. And I kind of found myself no plan at all working with older men. And, you know, what I found out, Brother Kirk, is that what happens more often than not is that I learn more from them, and I am more blessed by them than they are by me. And, you know, when you get those type of blessings, man, you just keep, you know, you keep fighting for them. You keep fighting for them. Your second question was, I'm sorry, Brother Kirk, what was your second question?
You speak of how young men are blinded by frustration, anger, and how that turns into this form of trauma. And it's
Right.
something that we can't get out of. And so that those behaviors keep happening. Would you speak
Right.
to that?
So let me say this. I say this all the time, every time I get a chance. They will tell you that young brothers suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm here to tell you that that does not happen. They do not suffer from that. What they suffer from is persistent traumatic stress disorder, because they never get the opportunity to leave the trauma that traumatizes them. You know, soldier goes overseas, whether it's Afghanistan, Iraq, or whatever, the trauma happens over there. He comes home, it becomes post. But these young brothers see this every day. But what happens is, you know, we are a buffet of the experiences that the things that we experience. So we have three working systems or working memories. We have a visual working memory, an auditory working memory, and a somatic working memory. And the visual and the auditory are called sensories, right? It's what you take in, right? And these things, those particular types of memories they're very limited, they're unfocused, and they're limited in capacity. But what happens is when you have a repeated type of behavior, like if you have loving behavior, you see a loving environment, you're around loving voices, then that becomes your repeated behavior. But what happens when you're in a system where all you hear is negativity, all you're around is negativity? That becomes your somatic memory. And then we have this emotional diet that too often young kings, they die off of that diet, right? Either emotionally or physical. And it becomes very hard for them to get out the cycle because they have nothing to show them to show them a difference.
I appreciate that answer. You know, I'm gonna ask you one other quick question.
Sure.
I don't know if you've been following, but in West Philadelphia, a young man, Walter Wallace Jr., was shot down by the police. Man, I have a 26-year-old son. He's 6'3". He's loud. He's tatted. He's everything that fits the bill. And so, you know, that hits my heart. And I'm torn how to feel because I saw the video, you know, and the young man's coming at the officers with a knife, so with a threat. But however, they say he has bipolar. How do we handle these situations?
Well, the police should have never been there in the first place. From what I understand, and I actually know someone who was actually on the scene. From what I understand, the police were there earlier that day or twice that day. And so that is a situation for somebody who knows how to de-escalate that situation. And, you know, again, I have not seen the video. I refuse, you know, I've gotten to the point where I just emotionally, it's hard for me to watch these videos. So I purposely do not watch them. But, and I recognize that, you know, somebody's coming at you with a knife, you perceive that as a threat. But at the same time, you're a professional and you should know how to, you know, de-escalate that without the use of force. And I just believe that if, you know, you hear a lot of defund the police. Well, defund the police does not mean that we're trying to get rid of the police. We're trying to use money in other places so that we can have the professionals who will show up on that situation and can de-escalate it, because those who are trained can de-escalate that situation. But the thing is, we are not citizens, we are victims, right? And that we're not citizens, we're always suspects. And that's just the way they approach us.
You know, the one thing I thought was interesting with this most recent event is it was in the news for a hot second, and then it turned right back to politics. And I know a certain segment of the political spectrum uses the riots as a way to kind of push the agenda of law and order and so forth. And I wonder just how much the media kind of seeing what was happening, but quickly pivoting so that didn't become kind of in the conscious like all the other marches, how much of that was driven by politics versus just people getting tired of seeing it, and the news kind of recognizing that that's not getting clicks anymore, unfortunately.
Well, media is always important in how we see the world. Again, it's one of our sensory memories, right? It's what we take in and what we take in repeatedly. And so the media, whether it's politics or whatever, they will use it to push the narrative that they want to push for that particular situation. And again, I haven't even turned the TV on in 3-4 days. So I really don't know what's happening, but you always have to be very cognizant and very careful about the media because it's a tool that they use for their benefit.
Absolutely. I share in those same sentiments. Be careful what you take in, right? How much of you taking in, whether it be social media, TV, any of those platforms, you know that there's an agenda, and also you should be just as intentional with your time. So,
absolutely.
With that being said, man, if you're just checking in, we're here with the Bro Code Show. We've got the big homie Reginald Williams. Reginald is a speaker, author, a consultant, as well as an analyst of behaviors when it comes to our brown and black children and some of the things that they need both internally, externally. He's also the author of A Marginalized Voice, Devalued, Dismissed, Disenfranchised, and Demonized. I do want to switch gears real quick, fellas. Please go ahead and get that book on amvonlinestore.com. So we do want to switch gears, man. I want to have some fun, Reg, if you don't mind, brother. You know, I got one of those would you rather questions for the bros. And chime in on this one and share your thoughts in the chat. You know, just kind of peel the layers back to this onion and hanging out with the fellas. So I encourage the viewers to chime in on this one. But fellas, would you rather travel the world for a year on a shoestring budget or stay in one country for a year but live in luxury?
You want to take that one first, Kirk?
Yeah, what you
Oh
think?
yeah, this is easy. This is easy. Yo, I want to change every 5 days. I'm okay with. I can sleep anywhere, but I'm living for experiences, and that's what Brother Reggie's talking about. These young men need that exposure. That exposure changes their environment. Yeah. And yeah, let's travel.
Oh, man, I'm the opposite, man. I love to travel, and I've been in places on a shoestring budget, and I've also been on trips where I was facing the ocean and eating Italian and lasagna at night. Give me that lap of luxury for a year. You know, let me immerse myself and be comfortable doing it and enjoy spending and itineraries every day. And I'd much rather live in luxury than the shoestring budget if I had my choice.
I can dig that. Two different perspectives, the experience or the consistency. Or really, it sounds as if it really comes down to the money, not to the experience, right? The luxury seems more appealing to you, Jay, than the opportunity to be different places. Okay, I can dig that. How about you, Brother Reggie? What do you think, bro?
I'm with Brother Kurt, man. To be able to go different places and see different situations, be around different cultures and different people expands your mind, exponentially. And I think eventually, if I'm able to do that, for a year, then I'll get to the point where I'll be able to experience what Brother Smith says and be somewhere, for a year at a time and lap in luxury. But you just can't. I remember, coming from a very small town in North Carolina, I never really saw myself beyond that town. And I remember the first time I left the country, I went to England. And I actually, when I got off the plane, I kissed the ground because I'm like in another country, Little boy from Chester, North Carolina is in England, right? And I'm not in the army, I'm not, and that's no disrespect to those in the military. It was a choice to go there. So I'm with Brother Kirk, man. Let me have a year of different experiences. Absolutely.
I could dig that. I like the perspective. I don't know what I don't know, so let me gain some experience. Then I can figure out where I want to live in luxury, right? Because that one, those luxurious things can be done anywhere. So okay, I could dig that. I've always been a free spiriter, so I have to go with the former as well, man. the experiences. You know, I feel you on JC, like yourself, JC. I've had the pleasure of doing some things in different countries. I've had the pleasure of beating up my passport and getting those stamps and experiencing some of those things. So now I really just want to go have more experiences in different places, even if it was at a hostel or, you know, a shared B&B. You know, yeah, I could dig that. Okay,
Well,
so that's all.
if we happen to be at the same place, you know, I'll just close my doors to my luxurious guest house and let you stay in that house. Feel more comfortable.
You'll open up the windows and let me view from the outside looking in. Right?
Yeah. I'll send you some videos of what you're missing, you know.
Not on this yacht, sir. You can't get on my yacht. No. I see how you do, man. We're supposed to be bros, too, right? But, what you got, Jay?
Reggie, I want to get back to something you touched on a little bit as far as that cycle. You know, I saw in one of the excerpts how you were talking about parents, educators, program personnel, and health professionals can oftentimes glance over that cycle. And it leads to Black boys struggling to escape out of it. Can you explain to our listeners your thoughts behind that statement?
So here's what happens. You know, people think that they have arrived because of their experiences. So I'm a clinician, or I'm a therapist, or I'm an educator, or I'm a parent. I've been down that road. I know what exists. And so you have to listen to me in order for you to go, you know, to do the right thing, to go down the right road. And what happens is when you have a kid who has something within them that they want to get out of them, but because you've arrived and you will not listen to what I have to say, when you put me in a position where I can't teach you, then all you do is frustrate me. And so, like I told you earlier, I say this very humbly, man. I have learned so many things from so many kids. I have learned so many things from people who have been locked up only because I sat down and gave them the space to share with me who they were or who they wanted to be. And so I don't stand in front of any audience, any youth, any adults with the disposition that I am the expert and you need to listen to me. I stand there openly and say, what can you share with me that I can use to help guide you? And all I'm going to do is guide you. And, you know, again, too many people, you know, there's a word that drove the second half of my book. The word is called iatrogenic. And iatrogenic is a medical term where it says, basically you come into the hospital or doctor's office and you come in to have a procedure, but in that procedure, something else happens that was unintended. And so a lot of times the people who work with our youth, right, in their expertise do not realize the stuff that they're putting on them is actually hurting them.
So what can, and maybe your book goes through this in more detail, what can parents and educators do? Is there like a guide for how to have that conversation effectively?
I think first they just need to believe that it needs to be had. A lot of times what I tell parents is, if you look at a person like, and I'll use a Kobe Bryant, there's a story between Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson where Kobe takes Allen Iverson out to dinner, and after dinner is over with, Kobe says, where you going? And Iverson says, I'm going to the club. And Iverson asks Kobe, where you going to? He says, I'm going to the gym. He said, no, where you going? He said, I'm going to the gym. As great as Kobe was, he always wanted to be better. And as parents have to begin to realize that as much as I want my kids to succeed, I have to be able to get better at being a parent. And so these are some of the things I push at parents, like, yo, you just can't exist where you are and believe because you're providing a roof over the head or you're putting food in their belly, that's it. You have to continue to be able to learn so that you can instill more in your children. And a quick story, there was a brother, he lives up here in VA, 2 children, he's single father, 2 children, had a 3rd child in Durham that he would come see every 2 weeks. But his oldest child said, came to him, said, you don't understand what I have to go through to go to school and the struggles that I have. This is what the father did. He rearranged his schedule. He went back to school to get his master's. he got his master's in 2 years, and he presented it to his son 2 years later and said, son, no matter how difficult it is, you can do it. And his son, watching his father do that, right, extending himself beyond what he was currently doing, helped him grow in ways that was immeasurable. But again, so to answer your question, parents have to be humble enough to know that as great as they think they are, there's greater to be achieved, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I appreciate you sharing.
Absolutely. A forever learner, man.
Forever.
One of the things that I share with not just my kids, but the kids that we serve through our mentoring program is to be a forever learner, and I'll be a sponge. So that's good. Got to shout out the crowd real quick, man. John Hunter. Hey, for those that don't know that dope video that we played in the beginning, John did that video, man. Shout out to John, man, at JHG Productions. Love you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who Pat Duke is, but hello, Pat Duke. How you doing? And I think Alexis was laughing at you, man, Jay, talking about not letting me in the penthouse just because I'm on a shoestring budget. Like that was wrong. But Alexis, what's happening?
Yeah, we're both Libras, so she shares my sentiments as far as enjoying the finer things, man.
Excellent. Yeah. So, Norma said priceless. Do you know Norma, Reggie? She was speaking to the sentiments that you shared.
No.
John said, "Amazing, love you, bro. Appreciate you." And yes, she confirmed, Jay. She confirmed. So, with that being said, man, Reggie, man, we appreciate you joining us and sharing your thoughts, bro. Hey, how can people connect with you and purchase your book, bro?
amvonlinestores.com.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to email me, book Reggie, like book Reggie at reginaldwilliams.org. Hit me on the email. There you go.
Come on, we on it, bro. We a full production studio around here. You better watch out. This boy's
Hey, the bro code. Look, you're setting the tone for everyone else.
Man, I was always taught to work in the spirit of excellence, brother. So with that being said, man, also reginaldwilliams.org, man. Support my brother, man. One time for the one time, you can go get the book at amvonlinestore.com, A Marginalized Voice by Reginald Williams. Brother, we definitely appreciate you, bro. I'll hit you up next week, man. You take care, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So, fellas, I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about this month's topic of conversation. This is a new month. Today was my aunt's birthday. She is a principal up in New Jersey, November the 1st. And, we got 2 months left, bro. 2 months left in this thing called 2020. Then they had the nerve to give us an extra hour of this mayhem, right? So,
and real quick, shout outs that you're doing shout outs for birthdays. My sister, who was a guest on our program a couple months back, her birthday was on the 30th.
What's up, Miss Pamela Moore up there in what county is that? Millville.
I don't know what the county
There you go, up there in Jersey. How about that, man? Shout out to Pamela Moore. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, I did celebrate. I shouted her out on social media. So, yeah, man, Dr. Moore, happy birthday. Absolutely. Yeah. So, hey, speaking of Pamela Moore, she is also a strong woman in leadership. And that's actually the discussion of conversation this month. We'll be talking about ladies in leadership, the impact strong female leadership makes across all career sectors and entrepreneurship, and how that reflective representation plays a role in encouraging our young ladies, similar to Prince T'Challa from Black Panther, for our young men. We're chewing the fat on the legacy of RBG and the hopeful victory of the Biden-Harris campaign. So next week we will have attorney Karina Lemons. Now, Karina is the head attorney at, she's the head attorney at Lemons Law Firm in Durham. We'll also have Dr. Pamela Gilchrist. She is the director of Emotab Academy at NC State University. She is also president of Gilchrist Progressive Consulting. And then for part 2 of the conversation, we'll have attorney Beth Tanner. She's former assistant attorney general and also assistant general counsel with the North Carolina Department of Justice. She's also the associate director of the North Carolina Innocence Inquiry Commission and candidate for Wake County District Court Judge. We'll also have Dr. Fildra Swagger. She's an author, educator, success coach, CEO, and founder of Combined Expertise Incorporated. And last, certainly, but not least, we got the queen, Dr. Paulette Walker. She is an educator extraordinaire, and she has served on every level of education. Dr. Walker also served as the 25th national president of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to the devastating divas. So set your alarm, Siri, and Google Home for next Sunday, part 1, November 8th at 6 p.m. live on Facebook at Wine4C or our YouTube channel, Wine4C TV. Well, we certainly appreciate the brothers for another dope night coming out here and chopping it up, man. I love and appreciate you guys, man. We always want to leave you guys with some positivity. And this one here comes from the big homie, Bobby Seale. He was a Black Panther, actually the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. And he says, you don't fight racism with racism. The best way to fight racism is with solidarity. It's your boy, Bro Troy, aka Mr. YM4C, and we are the Bro Code.